Hello everybody, I'm Storm here. Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV Online Endwalker. In the last episode, we engaged the Archfiend of Wind, Eorzea, and then after sealing her in crystal, Zero collapsed. And so we brought her back to the source to recover. And after, getting her fed, we kind of gave her the tour of the city, and we learned a little bit more from her about the Memoria and Contra Memoria. And yeah, we are apparently going to be planning to try to restore balance to the 13th. So we'll see what happens with that. Then we got a interesting cutscene with Golbez and a bunch of cryptic information, which I have no idea where any of that is going. So we'll see in a little bit. Next time the more of the MSQ is released. But for now, what we're going to be doing is moving on to the next set of Pandemonium raids, Abyssos, and we're going to be giving that a run. And we're going to be switching over to Sage to do that, because it's going to be much easier, I think, to queue into those as a healer. So that is what I am going to do. Now, before we get to that, there is one other thing that I wanted to look into, because apparently, like right at the end, there was like a little tiny, looked like void scent thing that came by and was being chased by a Radiant, one of the Radiant hosts, and apparently that leads to a quest over here that has some interesting information in it. From what I understand, I have not actually done this yet myself. Even though this is a new recording session that is, I think, a couple of weeks later from the last episode. So, we will take a look at this first. Alright, Shadowed Pass. Something has this Radiant Scout unnerved. Oh, Mistress Ayame, you couldn't have appeared at a better time. You see, while out patrolling the city, I chanced to sight a void scent. I immediately chased it down with the intent of eliminating it, but something about it struck me as odd. For one, it made no move to defend itself, but simply sat there, jiggling, which is why, against my better judgment, I decided to capture it instead. Having traveled to the void, I dare say you have considerable knowledge of its denizens. If you have a moment, might I trouble you for your opinion on the creature's unusual behavior? Alright then. I'm truly grateful. Now, if you follow me, the creature is being held in the hall of the Radiant Host. Very well. Alright. The sullen-eyed void scent. The void scent glowers in your direction but says nothing. Alright. Here it is. Surprisingly docile, even when I captured it, and there have been no reports of attacks prior to that. Even so, it's the nature of void scent to prey upon people for their ether. Perhaps it bides its time, waiting to carry out some manner of scheme. You. I remember you. Yes, you were at Troya. Please, you must help me. What do you need help with? Oh, you do understand me. I understand the mortal tongue well enough, but I don't have a mouth to produce the sound. It's been a struggle to convey my thoughts. But not anymore. You can help me. Yes, you can. You can converse with the void scent? Amazing. Could you ask why it came here? When you and yours stormed the castle, I was caught up in the fighting and died. In time, I returned, but I tire of fighting, so I fled, using the gate to your world. Having just been reborn, however, my essence hadn't fully bound together yet, and so when I emerged from the gate, it was as several sundered selves. Quite confused, they scattered. Following their trail led me here, my diminutive size allowing me to remain largely unseen. But by the same token, I can do little more than sneak about. Each of us was weak and powerless. That's why we consumed one another in the first place. Together we were strong. I want you to help me and find all of me so that I can be whole again. You wish to strike a bargain, then? Yes, I would. To be whole again and live in this world, I would strike 1,000 bargains. We still remember the past, you see. Still remember when we were mortals. We long to have that life again, but we need your help, starting by reuniting us. We won't try to devour anyone, even when we're whole, I swear. You wish to learn more about the Void, yes? There is much we can teach you about those who rule its domains, about their past. Find the others, and they'll tell you all they know. No eating, no tricks. Do we have a bargain? Sure thing. So it crossed over to our world to escape conflict and now searches for the rest of itself? I understand Void Center are quite reliable when it comes to fulfilling a pact, and I dare say having one as an ally would benefit our research into their world. Very well. If you would be so kind as to search for its kin, I will consult my superiors on how to best deal with them. By that, I take we have a bargain. Good, good. I sense 4 others close by. When you find them, you need only point them in this direction. Once you sense my presence, I can guide them the rest of the way. Alright, I guess I go look for more parts of this thing. Okay. And there were... wayward hecti. What's that? I asked you to search for me in exchange for knowledge about powerful void scent? I was still wanting to see this and that, but I suppose a deal is a deal. Those men over there, soldiers, are they not? We used to have soldiers in our world too. There were lots of them during the Contra Memoria. Back from Weaver's warding, are you? I hear you fought well against the void scent that slipped through. Come now, I merely did my duty. Haven't we all sworn to protect our nation no matter the cost? Protect our nation. How familiar are those words? Where was it that I heard them? Ah, yes. It was the early days of the Contra Memoria. The enemy had conjured a terrible eidolon that had laid siege to a fortress. The garrison was made up of ordinary soldiers, men and women with no remarkable abilities, but led by their valiant commander, they fought bravely and desperately. They had to last until the Memoriat arrived, the commander told them. Needed to hold out no matter the cost. A Memoriat did eventually arrive, but not soon enough for the soldiers. Having struck down the eidolon, the Memoriat and his servant searched the castle for survivors. They found only the dead. Just when they had given up all hope, a faint groaning reached their ears. They rushed over to the sound and cleared away debris. To find a lone survivor, the garrison commander. Instead of joy, however, the sight of the man filled them with anger. Your soldiers are slaughtered to a man, yet there's barely a scratch on you. What's the meaning of this? The eidolon was savage, but mindless. It was a simple thing to hide myself beneath fallen debris. Hide? As commander, you had a duty to your men. You were supposed to put their lives before your own. Spare me. My duty was to ensure the fortress stood, and it did. Besides, my death would have achieved nothing. Honor be damned. No, I'm sworn to protect our nation, and to do that I must live. It isn't my fate to fall here. It isn't your fate, you say? Is he merely unconscious? Come, let us bury the soldiers and their commander with them. Fate shall decide what becomes of him, whether he lives or dies. Very well, my lord. Funeral rites were later held for the fallen, but solemn tears quickly gave way to horrified screams as a body emerged from the earth. The commander. I can't die. I must live, the man is said to have declared. The people thought him a demon, a disheveled horror, muttering curses as he wandered off to regions unknown. Scarmiglione, they called him, a name befitting his newfound grisly visage, a name befitting a monster. We thought we buried him deep, but a mortal's desire to live is not to be underestimated. You're immortal, so I expect you understand that desire. Well, that concludes my tale. I had best rejoin myself, if you'll excuse me. Alright, so that's who Scarmiglione was before the Flood of Darkness. Alright, let's head over to here. And here it is. So this is where mortals consume ether. Dreading loneliness more than hunger. How very like me. If you don't mind, though, I like to observe the mortals a while longer. Food here is simply sublime. Why, I feel stronger with every bite, as if the Murga themselves were granting me their blessing. Food is tasty, that's true enough, but no food is so sublime as to be a substitute for proper training, my friend. Stronger with every bite, every feed. My part of the bargain, I will tell you about how a void scent becomes strong. Simply put, it depends on the quality and quantity of ether we harbor. When the world was consumed by darkness, the heroes known as Memoriates arose as powerful void scent. In contrast, the vast majority of mortals, powerless and unremarkable as they were, became ordinary void scent, like me. Now, there were exceptions, of course, but one in particular I'll never forget. Scarmiglione. Never had I seen a void scent so craven. Even when pushed to the brink of starvation, he would prey only on those weaker than himself. He subsisted on scant leavings and lived in constant fear and hunger. In the face of danger, a void scent stronger than himself, fleeing was the only option. But a day came when he found his way barred. How pitiful. Ah. Elbaz. Such overwhelming ether. Who is this? You fled instead of facing your foe. Why? Why? I'm too weak. Why else? I would have been devoured. So had you enough strength, you would have stood your ground. Very well, then. What's happening? Yes, I feel it, the power swelling within me. Oh, your foe returns. What have you done to me? I granted you but a sliver of ether. 'Twas with the power you already possessed that you defeated your foe. I possessed such power? Fear had clouded your eyes, blinded you to the strength you had attained feeding on the weak. If you would free yourself from fear, then join me. You shall have a greater cause to live for and know true power. Curious how, in a world without death, the fear of it could be the key to great strength. The knight recognized this, recognized the Voidsent's potential, and thus did he take him into his service. Determined as he is to live, it wouldn't surprise me if he were still somewhere out there. Well, not exactly anymore. He'd be even more powerful now, I expect, from all the devouring he would have done since. Unlike your world, eating actually makes you stronger in ours. Well, I must be getting going now. The others are waiting. Yeah, we turned him into a crystal. Alright, where to next? Well, I guess we'll go to the next easiest one to get to. Alright, where are you? There you are. Ah, what a refreshing breeze. I'm to return to the others? Bah, they should come here. Would you look at this beautiful, boundless sky? Mortals take to the air from here, do they not? Would that I had wings to soar among the clouds myself. But we Voidsent are not wont to roam, you see. The mightiest among us carve out domains, while the rest labor to stay in their good graces. No, the master of a domain seldom ventures outside, for it is in one's territory that one is strongest. For some, however, such confinement proved trying, as was the case for a certain Voidsent I knew. I speak of the free-spirited terror, Barbariccia. When she first established her domain, she whiled away the days waiting for her minions to bring her prey. Ether amassed from these offerings were devoured to the singular pleasure of caring for her silky, flowing locks, but the resources of her domain were not without their limits. It was only when none remained to oppose her that she realized she was a prisoner in her own domain, and unless she broke free, she would inevitably wither away alone. Not knowing what to do, she had fallen into the depths of despair when the hand of salvation came to pull her out. At this rate, my precious hair will frazzle and fray, had I only the strength to leave my domain. If strength is your desire, that is easily granted. Who are you? So much power surging through me. And what will you do with it? What is it you desire? What I desire? What I desire is... You would move your very domain? Impressive. That I can do such a thing. What have you done to me? I granted you ether, nothing more. It was your will that made it possible. My will? Even so, no matter where you should go, there is naught but darkness. What could your destination possibly be? Destination? I have no need of such. I wish but to be free, like the wind. A world that has met its end, rare indeed is the soul who desires freedom so ardently that she could will her very domain to move. Recognizing his quality, the knight would grant her more power and a place of command in his mighty army. A story worthy of our bargain, I trust. I might have had more to tell had I not fallen off her domain. It seems you mortals also have a fondness for flying. I'd certainly like to try riding one of these airships of yours. Perhaps another time. My other selves will be a blubbering mess if I don't hurry and rejoin them. Alright then. And we have one more. I guess we'll probably find out who Eorzea was before the flood. Alright, should be somewhere over here. Well, this elf grows lonely, you say? My apologies. It was my intent to seek out the others, but I was distracted by the bickering pair of mortals yonder. My goodness, there's been some colorful language. Hell's with your father. You shouldn't need his permission just to leave the god's damned house. Please, mind your language. What would your father say if he were to hear you? It's always father this, father that with you. I'm sick of it. You're your own woman now. Bloody act like one for a change. Colorful language, yes. Not from the girl, though. Oh no, she appears to be quite well-bred. I just hope she's happier than the girl I knew long, long ago. The girl was born into a family of thugs who suddenly found themselves nobility. She was raised as a noblewoman and had servants to endure every need, but in the end, she was merely a beautiful girl kept in a gilded cage. Wanting her to be a proper lady, her parents presided over all aspects of her life. They decided everything for her, telling her what to say and do. Chafing from the fetters of her restrictive life, she solicited her handmaiden's aid and stole outside the manor, where she enjoyed a moment of bliss unbeknownst to her parents, or so she thought. It was not long before her father dragged her back to her room, barring the door and windows, denying her even the simplest pleasure of an afternoon breeze. Even a bird in a cage may chirp freely, but she wasn't even suffered to give voice to her desires. But she wouldn't be deterred. Having once tasted sweet freedom, she yearned for more, and one day she succeeded in sneaking out of the manor a second time. You're late. I was beginning to think you wouldn't come. If you're expecting your friends, I'm afraid they're not coming. Father, how did you... What do you mean they're not coming? I know some merchants, some miscreants were cavorting in these parts, but to think that they'd dare to try to consort with my daughter, well, you needn't worry about them anymore. They're food for the fishes now. How could you do this, father? Why must you torment me so? Know your place, girl. You are a means for our family to gain influence, and I won't have you sullying yourself with riffraff. You will not leave your chambers save with my permission, nor will you disobey me again. If you do so, there will be severe consequences. Am I understood? I said, am I understood? The hell? What did you say? I said, go to hell. Well. I would think that it could be so exhilarating to speak my mind, to do as I please. No more living in a cage. From this moment on, I am free. Free as the wind. The young woman struck out on her own, and her travels discovered her true calling, not in the halls of lords and ladies, but on the battlefield. She became a force of nature, famed for her striking beauty, which belied a terrible savagery. In this new life, she also claimed a new name, Barbaricia. Indeed, she found her freedom, but did she also find happiness? I wonder. Suppose I'll never know, nor does it matter, for the world that once was is no more. Oh, but goodness me, I better rejoin the others. Alright, well, interesting. We found the last of the void sent. Time to head back to the Hall of the Radiant Host. Alright, then. Pushed her till she snapped. Alright. Well, back to the Hall of the Radiant Host. Well, there they all are. Thank you so much for finding me. I hope the knowledge I had to share was worthy of our agreement. So how did you come to know the Archfiends? Mother selves live quite disparate lives, both as mortals and Voidsent, though I suppose it's rather fortuitous that they had crossed paths with such powerful Voidsent. But more importantly, what they could offer was worthy of our bargain. For that, I am glad. All that remains now is for us to rejoin and become whole again. Huh? Is this not all of me? There can be no other explanation. There is still more of me lost out there, somewhere. I don't sense them. Where could they have gone? I mean, there's more of them wandering about? By the sisters. At the very least, if what you say is true, they pose no threat to the people. Until the others can be found, we will keep these 5 under our care. But since the others nearby, I hope we can count on you to find them too. I'm guessing that they will be there for the other Archfiends once we've encountered and fought them. Which won't be for a while, I don't think. Now, with that, I think we're going to head out to start working on the next set of the Pandemonium raids. So, let's head on over. I believe that they start in Labyrinthos. Alright, Claudian. An unwelcome visitor. Claudian's eyes are brimming with the excitement of discovery. Yummy. I made a breakthrough. After uncountable days and nights, I finally hearkened to the crystal's whispers, and I must say, Professor Claudian, where are your manners? While I understand all too well your enthusiasm, I must remind you that even the most academically inclined prefer a composed recounting of events. Ah, yes, of course. My apologies, Ayame. Being consumed by my research for far too long, I'm afraid I have quite forgotten how to engage in civilized conversation. In that case, perhaps we should start from the beginning. The crystals set adrift upon the ethereal tides, containing the memory of a party yet unknown. They cried out for deliverance from Pandemonium, where the ancients kept volatile creations under lock and key. You yourself witnessed the power devouring the facility from within, and the advent of a divine monstrosity wrought of mythic beasts and a powerful mage. Fortunately, your martial prowess and the combined magical talents of your companions, Themis and Erechthonios, was sufficient to restore order to the circles of Asphodelos, but the greater threat remains. The depths of Pandemonium, a presence yet stirs, its intentions and identity shrouded in mystery. It is the issue at hand, is it not? A nice summary. Since you returned to us, we worked tirelessly to discern the nature of the crystal. In the process, I detected an anomalous etheric signature, which I believe arose from the memories stored within. Analysis of this pattern suggested a feeling of loss or yearning, specifically the yearning to be made whole, and indeed, ambient readings have revealed a faint but identical signature. This can only mean that another such crystal exists in our time. So, my friend, I must depart to search for it forthwith. By tracing the matching etheric signature to its source, I believe it will be a simple matter to find our crystal's twin. Professor, will this expedition be carried out only by us, or will Ayame grace us with her protection? I'm afraid she has more pressing matters to attend to, my dear Rusano, namely to seek out the secrets which lie nestled within Pandemonium, where this all began. From all that we have heard, it appears that time traversal from the Crystal Tower is not fluid. That is to say, one can but travel in predetermined intervals. It will be prudent to check in on occasion in case there are any unanticipated changes. As for you, my loyal assistants, I would ask that you remain here and continue cataloging the ancient creations. You can't mean. Do you intend to search for the crystal on your own? Why, yes, that would be the most efficient use of our resources, would it not? In fact, I had already commissioned a ship and a pilot for that very purpose. I trust you take good care of the laboratory in my absence. I apologize for that somewhat abrupt departure. When progress is in sight, Professor Claudian tends to become blind to all else. Indeed, he has been worse than usual. While I cannot fault him for his excitement, I do wish he would spare a thought for those around him. For reasons unknown, the crystal seems loath to be overheard, much as it spoke only to you last time. None but the professor has been able to recapture its ethereal yearning, which has served only to convince him that he can solve this puzzle on his own. Surely, after some time alone, he'll come to remember how valuable we are. The search for this crystal seemed to be a simple enough matter. Let him have his adventure, and upon his return, I'm certain he'll be back to his usual self. As for you, Ayame, it may be best to return to Pandemonium as Professor Claudian suggested. Speaking of which, I did have a request for my own to make. Traveling to Pandemonium requires you to pass through Elpis, correct? There is something I would have you investigate in my stead. While those creations confined within Pandemonium are considered to be failures, I doubt that's their whole story. Barring exceptional cases, they must have been observed under observation in Elpis before being consigned to their shackles. And if we know anything about the Ancients, is they would have kept thorough records of the results. Ah, brilliant. Delving into these records may shed light on creatures Ayame has yet to encounter, if your theory proves correct, that is. While there are no guarantees, it certainly beats the current strategy of rushing forward blindly with only her strength to carry today. For your own sake, as well as ours, please unearth what information you can. Alright, so we are back off to Elpis. Alright, so. Yes, we're gonna head over here and see what's up. Well, there's Themis. Ah, didn't expect to meet you here of all places. Okay. The Archivist. You seek records of Pandemonium's creations. Master Themis has just finished perusing the very same. I should not be surprised we both arrived at the same conclusion. Luckily, I have saved you the trouble and gleaned what information I could. Ah, so you know each other. I was dreading having to once again scour the archives, but perhaps instead I'll rest for a spell. If there's nothing else, I shall take my leave. As should we, for I have undone the warding sigil blocking the entrance to Abyssos. I came here merely to chase an idle suspicion while awaiting your return. Fortunately, while Pandemonium's protective wards continue to be assailed by our unknown foe, there have been no fluctuations so great as to make me doubt Ericthonios' capacity to keep watch over Asphodelos while I'm away. He works diligently to master interment, that he might deliver the creations back to their cages by his own hand. I thought it best to give him time to hone his craft. And since fate has brought us both here, I would ask you to accompany me while I attend to another matter. More idle suspicions that I would like to chase down. Rest assured, I shall not take long. I simply have a few questions to ask an acquaintance of mine. Come, he has agreed to meet us near the Noose to Pandemonium. Alright, and where is that over there? I guess we'll just go ahead and teleport over there and fly. And my chocobo has decided to take a break, which is fine. We shouldn't need services. Alright. Here we are. As I have pondered our expedition into Pandemonium, I could not help but be mystified by how strongly the warders we encountered felt for La Habrea, whether it be for good or ill. Hesperos and Erichthonios were two sides of the same coin. The former looked to his mentor with absolute devotion, while the latter looks to his father with bald hatred. I would not expect a familiar such as you to understand this, but such extreme emotions toward a single individual are quite rare indeed. Naturally, I feel gratitude toward my mother and father, yet we are all equals in the larger picture of the star. This view is not unique to myself, it is more or less accepted as the way of things. By contrast, the researchers of Pandemonium seem to view La Habrea with a feeling approaching obsession. Whether driven by love or hate, they have all been drawn to him. There were many other aspects of the facility's particulars I found troubling besides. I decided the best course of action would be to go straight to the source and pose my questions to a member of the Wards of La Habrea. My apologies to have kept you waiting, Master Themis. I understand you are conducting an investigation of Pandemonium and wish to know of its origins. Indeed. In particular, I wish to know why exactly Pandemonium was built directly under Elpis. The facility is overseen by the Wards of La Habrea, after all. Why keep it so close to Elpis, whose governing body has no say in its day-to-day operations? At first I thought it to be simply a matter of convenience. Those creations which were deemed failures by the researchers of Elpis could be easily ushered into their new homes. Imagine my surprise when a trip to the archives revealed that many of the creations were sent from organizations beyond Elpis, including from the Wards of La Habrea themselves. Given this, albeit limited information, I cannot but feel that Academia Uniter would have been a far more fitting locale. What does Elpis have that cannot be found there? Now, these are fitting questions, and ones we have asked ourselves many times in recent years. Alas, the nature of Pandemonium's construction does not lend itself to relocation. When first it was built, circumstances weren't as they are now. As you surmise, the majority of the creations kept within Pandemonium were sent from Elpis. Yet, as the years passed, interests changed, failures in creations deemed too flawed to even to submit to Elpis paradoxically drew the attention of Pandemonium's researchers. That's quite the change, and in fact, it almost runs counter to the facility's original purpose. Who is it that decides which creations will be the subject of research? Master La Habrea. Such authority is reserved for the Chief Key Ward, and he has taken upon himself to step into that role. So if Pandemonium's resources were being misused, it would be under La Habrea's authority, correct? I know not what you're suggesting, but the key wards also hold some sway within the facility. Not even Master La Habrea would be free from their scrutiny. They are duty-bound to report any irregularities as soon as possible. Although I admit, as of late, their communication has been somewhat sporadic, but recently we received a report. Recently, we received a report from one of the key wards stating that all is well within Pandemonium's halls. Really now? And you are certain that a key ward sent it? Yes, of course. Our communications suffered a temporary obstruction, but I can assure you the words did their due diligence in confirming the identity of the sender. Thank you. This information will be helpful to my investigation. That will be all for my prying. Then I shall take my leave. While you are yet permitted to conduct your investigation freely, I must remind you that the warders' work is delicate, and it will be remiss to disturb them for longer than is necessary. All is well. A blatant lie, and to that we can both attest. One of the remaining keywords is most certainly in league with the party behind this. Let us hurry. I know not why our adversary sent that report, but 'tis plain that we must return to Pandemonium with haste. All right. Let's teleport back down to Pandemonium. I cannot guess as to why this false report has arisen now, but it certainly bodes ill, as does the knowledge that our mysterious mastermind has at least one more keyword to puppet. Regardless, they have tipped their hand, and we would be remiss to leave Ericthonios at the mercy of their machinations. Let us hope no harm has befallen him. Not quite. I've traced these sigils countless times, yet still I lack the strength to maintain the spell. Now time works against me. I can no longer be victim to my own ineptitude. What? Who goes there? There is something to be admired in such single-minded effort, even if your methods leave much to be desired. You allowed this familiar to catch you unawares. Have you set your sights so high as to forget you walk upon the earth? I know this creature. A familiar of the Phoenix. That monster is locked away. That it is, in spite of the trouble I went to freeing it. I might add. Begrudge me for addressing you in this ill-fitting form if you must, but with control of Asphodelos wrested from my grasp, 'tis simply the best I can offer you. Fight if you will, but mark my words, I will find you and make you pay for the chaos you've sown. No, there's no need for such hostility. A calm heart stays the course, the wisdom of La Habrea, your father. And how would you know what wisdom he speaks? I've heard those words many times, the scolding of a tutor whose students struggled to grasp the most rudimentary lessons, seething with disgust. No. I've not told that to anyone, not even keyword Hesperos. It can only mean one thing. That still you insist on mocking me. Stop this farce, La Habrea. At last, you move to keep up. Pity that you remain behind, nevertheless. What? Ever as you are, always you fail to learn, fail to understand, fail to act. And though fate deigned to offer an escape, you remain here. You are bereft of magical prowess and common sense both. But you need not despair. Dull though you may be, you are yet indispensable to Pandemonium's great experiment. There's the affection I remember. Tell me, did I ever once measure up to your expectations? You shall. Take pride in that and rejoice to see your wish fulfilled. What? What wish? Come, and all shall be revealed. All this rage, this hatred, is but a consequence of ignorance. Our desires align more than you know. What are you... Uninvited guests just join our reunion. It seems fortune no longer favors you. Do you think I have any interest in listening to your prattle, let alone bowing to your will? I am no longer a child, and my faith lies with those who have earned it. So these are the heroes who brought Hesperos low, even as power divine flowed through his veins. Displaying that there are worthier subjects to contend with. Or these are worthier subjects to contend with. Alright. Yep. Me with my, flying miniguns. Alright. Demis? Just what was that familiar after? Eric? Thank you. If you had shown up even a moment later, I shudder to think what would have become of me. There's something I must tell you. I know who's behind this. There is but one person who can hold thrall over familiar, creation, and keyword alike. Alright, anything new? Eorzea seems to have quite the story to tell. Perhaps we should lend an ear. Yes, perhaps we should. There could be but one conclusion. Lahabrea was the driving force behind this chaos from the start. There's a logic to that. There are few with the wherewithal to even consider experimentation on such a scale, let alone the capacity to create demigods from man and beast with the rest of us none the wiser. Considering the magnitude of his work, with a convocation in the words, his relatively minor role as chief keyword comes under little scrutiny. Even as it provides him the authority to wield dangerous magics, it may serve as veil and mantle both. Still, I find the notion hard to accept. The misdeeds perpetrated here could not have been done by the Lahabrea I know. You met him, yes? Do you think he is capable of this? I'll go with it's still too early to say for certain. It truly is a puzzle with many missing pieces. Still, I see you do not deny outright the possibility that Lahabrea is a man with few scruples. That alone should be enough, but let me assure you, Lahabrea holds nothing so dear as his own ambition. Well, he may not be one to let emotion stand in the way of his mission. I cannot believe there are no depths to which he would not stoop. Although we met but briefly, the impression he left on me stands in stark contrast to your evaluation. And though his methods are ever unorthodox, they seem guided by a firm understanding of what is just. There's one way to find out for certain. We delve deeper into Pandemonium and pull back the curtain on this mystery ourselves. A wise course. I would not deny the truth if I saw it with my own eyes, even if it was discomfiting to behold. And we must move forward with no excess of caution. Lahabrea, or whomever is behind this, has likely spread their tentacles into every corner of Pandemonium. We can safely assume the other keywords won't greet us with open arms. Agreed. Let's make our way through Abyssos, one careful step at a time. I shall stay by Eric Thornius' side in case our enemies think to target him again. Could I trouble you to take the vanguard? No problem. Thank you. As a precaution, I shall safeguard you with a simple spell. This will ensure that even should we become separated, my phantom warriors will still come to your aid. If it does come to battle, the keyword's magics will put us at a disadvantage once again. Luckily, we have you to even the scales somewhat. I trust you shall be liberal with your weight. Absolutely. All right, Abyssos, the 5th circle, is not accessible. Well, I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and stop here, and we'll actually head into the 5th circle next episode. And see what it is that we're going to be fighting. Alright, but for now, we'll stop here. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Go ahead, like, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you next time.